Hello again, Danny H here. Basically, this is a review of my predictions for the 2025-26 League Two season. So let's have a look. Right, in 24th spot were Barrow. I actually predicted Barrow to finish in 21st. So I knew they were going to have a bad season, but this was absolutely awful season for them. They went through four managers, which is never a good sign. Never a good sign for a season. And they just really they just completely fell off. Their form just tailed off. They were really bad towards the end of the season. They were about mid-table in some of the early parts of the season, but later on in the season, it just went totally wrong for them. So they ended up going down. So don't know what's going to happen. Not sure what's going to happen with them after that in terms of predictions and where they're going to finish, because there are some strong teams in the National League now. Some very big teams that are looking to be building on good seasons. And in 23rd spot, first correct prediction I got was Harrogate Town. I just had a bad feeling about Harrogate this season. Unlike Barrow, who went through four managers, they actually kept faith in the same manager, but I think there's now question marks on his ability now. And the fact is, he is the owner's son. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what season sort of next season Barrow are going to have. Like I say, they were 23rd, and I was correct to put them in 23rd. I just knew they were going to have a bad season. In 22nd spot finished Crawley. I wasn't sure what to predict with Crawley, really. I knew they were going to have a tough season. I knew they were going to struggle a little bit. But I actually had them up in 13th because I just couldn't figure out where to place them, really. But they finished 22nd. They really did look bad this season. And because they've got a fairly small budget, it doesn't bode well for next season. I think they will struggle badly next season, Crawley. In 21st spot were Tranmere. I actually had Tranmere up in 16th. I thought they would start to improve a little bit this season. A lot of their fans were predicting a really good season, but unfortunately, the one big elephant in the room was Mark Palios staying on. The Palios, he wants to sell the club. He wants to get out of there, and the fans absolutely detest him. I think Tranmere's next season, will depend on whether Mark Palios stays. If he stays, then I think they're going to struggle again quite badly. If he leaves, then I think they might be in for a decent season. They might start to improve a little bit with a new owner backing and new financial backing. In 20th spot finished Newport. Now I actually had Newport to finish bottom of the league. They took a real gamble on an untried manager in the league, and that either goes one of two ways. They either pull off a masterstroke or it ends really badly. Unfortunately, it ended badly this time, but they brought Christian Fuchs in, and he really did turn the club around. They really did well towards the end of next season, so I think they could be optimistic for next season, Newport. Like I said, I had them in 24th. They finished in 20th. I'm glad they stayed up, to be fair. I think they deserved it, to be honest. And in 19th spot was Shrewsbury. This is another correct prediction of mine. I actually had Shrewsbury down in 19th. They were just absolutely horrendous in League One last season. And if a team has a bad League One season, as we saw with Carlisle a few seasons back, I just knew Shrewsbury were going to struggle quite badly. And they ended up in 19th. They didn't go down. I think they got a new manager in, and he sort of got them out of there. And they did really well. In 18th spot, Cheltenham Town. I actually had Cheltenham down in 20th. I thought Cheltenham were going to struggle quite badly this season. They did struggle, but then Steve Cotterill came in. He's got very good pedigree at lower league level as a manager, and he managed to pull them away from the relegation area. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next season about how he addresses the team and how he addresses the comings and goings in the team. His name might bring a few people in, but we'll have to wait and see. And 17th, the first big wrong, the first one I got completely wrong was Gillingham. Now I actually had Gillingham up in 7th, which was pretty wide of the mark. Gillingham actually finished 17th. They just didn't have a good first spell of the season. Gareth Ainsworth came in. Unfortunately, things didn't really improve much. But it'll be interesting to see what happens during the summer and see what players he brings in, because it could be that Gillingham have a much better season next season, and hopefully maybe they'll get sorted eventually. But this season it just did not work out for them at all. In 16th spot were Accrington Stanley. Now I actually had Accrington in 22nd. I thought they were going to struggle quite a bit this season. I just had a feeling, but they actually did a lot better than I anticipated. Um, they still didn't have a particularly good season, but they did a lot better than where I thought they would be. In 15th, the third of my correct predictions, Fleetwood. Now, Fleetwood, I knew would be around about a mid-table side. I knew they weren't going to set the league alight, but they did. They didn't have a bad season, but obviously it's not a particularly good season. They did struggle quite a bit, and they just never really got going. I mean, they were never in danger of going down, but there was never really any promising signs of them going up either. In 14th spot, Bristol Rovers. Now, Bristol Rovers was really a season of two halves for them. I got my prediction completely wrong because I thought Bristol Rovers would do a whole lot better than they did. This was another wide of the mark prediction, by the way. Bristol Rovers I had up in 6th, and Bristol Rovers actually finished down in 14th, and they could have actually it could have actually ended in disaster because Darryl Clark, who was in charge for the early part of the season, just had an absolutely horrific run where I think they lost 10 games on the trot, which was an absolutely disastrous run, and that could have actually seen Bristol Rovers down in the National League. But Steve Evans came in and he sorted it all out. And basically, they just clambered away from the relegation zone, and they actually ended up in a decent mid-table position, which was good to see. Be interesting to see what players he brings in during the summer, because I think Bristol Rovers could be dark horses next season for promotion. And in 13th spot, we have Walsall. Now, this was only one place out. I actually had Walsall down in 14th, complete polar opposite of Bristol Rovers, and they ended up basically one place separating them. I actually had Walsall in 14th. I thought they were going to have a tough season again. And really they did. They had a really good start. Matt Sadler, he brought in some really, really good. He had a really good run of it. They were top of the league for quite a while. They were looking good for promotion, and then just like the season before, they just completely tailed off. And this time it was even worse, which cost Sadler his job, and they had to bring a new manager in. So really, really poor season for Walsall. They just really didn't look good towards the end of this season, and I think, depending on which manager they bring in, could basically suggest how the next season's going to go for them. Anyway, up in 12th were Colchester United. Now, this was another wide of the mark prediction because although I am a local boy, so obviously this was a bit biased, presumably, but Colchester I had up in 3rd. I mean, Colchester, it wasn't a brilliant season for them, really. I mean, I did have them to go up in 3rd. I thought they would do a whole lot better than that, but unfortunately I think injuries played a massive role, and they just didn't have the players that could necessary backup in players. I think Colchester are on the up. They are going to improve. Then I think a lot of it entails on whether a new owner comes in and whether Robbie Cowling, the current owner, finally sells to someone. I mean, John Terry. I mean, we've got an ongoing saga with him taking over at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, if he takes over and he invests in the team, then Colchester could be in with a real shout next season of going up. But with the current owner staying in, I think it will be another mid-table position for them next season. And up in 11th spot was Crewe. Now, Crewe are a bit of a difficult team to predict. I had them down in 17th. I thought they were going to struggle a bit this season, but they actually did a whole lot better than I thought. They are actually, I think they're a better team than people realise or perhaps anticipate. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Crewe next season. I mean, they do have the a lot of their. I think they've still got their academy and their youth team going. But I think Crewe really do need to sort themselves out and improve next season. I mean, a few mid-table positions are just not really going to cut it in the league, unfortunately. But we'll see how they go next season. 10th, one of the promoted sides, Oldham. Oldham I actually had in 12th, so not too far out. I thought Oldham were going to have a good season, I think, and they have had. It's a real sort of, hopefully it'll be a platform for them to build on and move forward next season. Have to wait and see on that one. We'll see how they go, Oldham. I mean, they do look pretty good though. They do look a decent team. In 9th spot even, sorry, lost track where I was for a minute. 9th spot was Swindon. Now this was another wide of the mark prediction. I thought Ian Holloway would have really, really taken Swindon really towards the top end of the league. I actually had Swindon up in second. I thought Ian Holloway was going to really sort them out this season and had a lot of fanfare about him, but unfortunately he had a decent start. They were in the running for promotion for a lot of the season, and unfortunately they just completely fizzled out towards the end, and unfortunately they ended up in ninth. So quite a poor season for them, to be fair. I mean, I was expecting more from Swindon this season. And up in eighth was Barnet. Now Barnet, I actually had one place out, was down in ninth. Now Barnet, I think really, I thought really Barnet were going to have a good season, and they did. So it was really, really cool to see how they got on. Yeah, so I think Barnet could be dark horses next season as well. So we'll see how they go. In seventh spot, first of the playoff positions, was Grimsby Town. Grimsby had a decent season. I think they did a lot better this season. I mean, I actually had Grimsby a little bit lower than 11th. I thought they were gonna be towards the upper end of the league, but I thought they were gonna miss out on the playoffs. But they actually made it through, and unfortunately they're a bit unlucky to lose against Salford, to be fair. So I think they've done really well. I'm expecting more from them next season. Sixth spot, Chesterfield. This was actually a little bit out. I had Chesterfield up in fourth. I thought Chesterfield were going to have a real decent season and really, really go for promotion this time. But they did go for promotion, but I think inconsistency cost them in the end. That's something they really are going to have to work on if they're going to make another promotion challenge next season. In fifth spot was Notts County, and here we are, another correct prediction. I actually predicted Notts County to be fifth. I knew they would be there or thereabouts this season. I mean, there were question marks over the manager and the management style that they were bringing in, but it has paid off for them. They've done really well. They're up in fifth now. It'll be interesting to see how they get on next season with what Bradford did the previous season. So I think Notts County could be an interesting ones to watch next season. In fourth spot, Salford City. I actually had Salford City quite a bit lower. I actually had them down in 10th. I thought they'd miss out again on promotion, but they miss out again on getting into the playoffs even. But they were actually pretty close to going up actually at several times of the season, but they didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it, and it just didn't work out for them in the playoffs, unfortunately. They ended up. I mean, they ended up in fourth. They lost the playoff final to Notts County. From what I heard, they were really, really poor. But that gives them food for thought for next season. Maybe they can make another try challenge for promotion. In third spot was Cambridge. Again, a little bit wrong here. I wasn't sure how Cambridge would get on. I knew they'd do a lot better than some of the other teams that came down from League One last season. But Cambridge really, really went through it, and they finished third. I mean, I had them down in eighth. I thought they would be there or thereabouts, but I've just thought they might just miss out and need another season to get themselves together, but they didn't. They got themselves back promotion, so well done to them. Congratulations to them. Neil Harris has really worked wonders with them, and obviously shows why perhaps Gillingham should have held on to him. And in second spot, we have Milton Keynes Dons. I thought Milton Keynes Dons would have won the league this season, but they were my tip to win the league because obviously the players they brought in and everything else. I mean, they really, really had I mean, I knew they were going to have a good season. MK Dons. I really do think they. I mean, Paul Warren's basically. I think he's done tremendously well with them, and I think they will be a team to watch next season in League One. And in first spot, Bromley. Now, I was way out on this one, admittedly. Bromley I actually had down in 18th, which was shocking. Really was shocking. I just thought their second season syndrome might kick in, and I thought they'd have a few problems this season. But no, absolutely not at all. Bromley did extremely well, did tremendously well to go up. They are a good little unit, and I think they could be, I think they might shock a few people next season in League One. So congratulations to them. Andy Woodman has done really, really well for them. But it'll be interesting to see what happens actually, whether bigger clubs start coming in for him. If they do, then I think Bromley could struggle, but Bromley really do need to hang on to him because he's kind of the glue that keeps them together, keeps the rest of the team together. So there you go. There are my predictions. That's a review of my predictions for League Two this season just gone. So hopefully I'll do better next season.